Hello, it's Anastasia Grace here, and I just wanted to record this quick video about 4 stages of relationship. Have you ever asked yourself why some of the relationships you see are so filled with generosity and so filled with generosity and this beautiful exchange, or some relationship more look like a cat between a fight between cat and a dog, and some relationship end up in a huge mess and fights around money. Some relationships seems to be get consciously separated with not much struggle whatsoever. So what does it actually happen in relationships? Why they are so different, and why some of the relationships are so toxic and some of the relationships are so incredible and delicious? I'm going to share with you 4 stages of the intimate relationship that has been described in the book by Robert Masters, Transformation Through Intimacy. And I absolutely love it. I love this book. I use it in my work with clients, and I think it's really, really useful information for you to know when you are building a relationship, or you're envisioning it, or you are wanting to attract the right partner. This information will help you. So the first stage is me-centered, right? Self-explanatory. It's all ego-run arrangements, quite often filled with trade-off, like you give me this, I give you that. And quite often the egoity of one partner is controlling or dominating another partner, and another partner would be quite accommodating and quite suppressed and quite quite often rooted in more like adjusting to another person. So the main question that runs in this relationship is, what is it for me? And some people would take on the timid role, and some will take the more dominant. The intimacy is not profound in this relationship. There's very little intimacy and pretty much no emotional intimacy involved. However, there will be quite often a lot of passion or this fire, and it will create the illusion that this couple is doing well. Monogamy in this stage of the relationship is quite immature. I'm going to be mentioning monogamy a lot because the book kind of centers around this deep intimacy and how to create it in a relationship in such a way that you live in this world, and even if you are meeting some you meeting other people and you are kind of tempted, you don't break the relationship for any kind of temptations. So in the me-centered stage, the monogamy is very immature and held in place in quite often fear and obedience. So there will be affairs, but they will be hidden and quite often indulged. So when they're hidden, they are indulged, and quite often the betrayal happens, or it's quite common in this relationship, the betrayal, emotional. You will talk behind your partner, you will badmouth them, you cheat on them, because it's all about me, poor me, how can I get the best for me? Which brings us to the second stage of the relationship, which is a we-centered, codependent. In this stage, the previous stage is included. It kind of transcends the first stage, but also includes the previous ones slightly, in some degree. So it would have some me-centeredness. However, we and the equality is often overvalued. It's just everything is placed on the altar of we, and we're codependent, and we are a couple. And any kind of differences, they are killed. Just no power is given to them, no energy is given to them. It's all about we. It's in the first option, the first stage, there's a cult of one, of me, and in the we-centered codependent, it's like cult of two against others. There's a huge separation from the outside world. It's kind of we against the world mentality, and the couple lives in the self-contained world, very separate, and it becomes this safe haven, this sanctum, security, this bubble, and nothing is allowed that could threaten that bubble of we codependent relationship. Any non-monogamous urges are repressed, and they're both repressed by both partners, not just like dominant one as in the first stage, but by both partners. And monogamy is still quite immature and just forced basically by both partners as the choice for us to stay together. Still, the betrayal is not uncommon. So still the like affairs and cheating and betrayal will happen. Then there is a third stage of a relationship, which is we-centered co-independent. And here more power is given to individuality of each partner, and negotiations take place over the differences, and there is a tolerance like towards the differences. Yes, I understand that you are different and I'm going to accept you and you accept me, however we are still we as individuals. Is this autonomy here is much more adult than in me-centered relationships, and kind of the more effective communication is used in this stage. However, vulnerability is still quite insufficient. It's still not as intimate and not as deep. There is more passion there than in we-centered codependent relationships, and however the full expression of yourself is still not allowed, where in we-centered codependent no self-expression of your individuality is allowed. For the sake of everything is suppressed for the sake of the couple. And if there are any non-monogamous urges or desires to have an affair, they're more exposed, as in they discussed, as in they allowed to come out and be worked on, even though affairs can still happen. But this stage is still is much more mature in regards to the intimacy, in regards to emotional and sexual intimacy, and there's not so much attachment to like codependency, but also there's more work needed in regards to over attachment to autonomy. So there could be quite a bit of a power struggle in that stage of the relationship. And the fourth stage, the kind of the most transcendent one, is the being centered, where there is a shared love, shared vision, shared depth, shared intimacy, and a couple is moving into that connection on a soul level, on a being level, across all of the aspects of the personality. And intimacy happens as with the shadow parts of us as with the light. So everything is open and accepted, and shadow is accepted and dealt with. So this stage of the relationship is less conditional, or moving towards the unconditional acceptance and unconditional love, unconditional depth. And here at this stage, non-monogamous urges are not a problem anymore. Even if they arise, they're not a threat to the relationship at all, because sometimes they even just cease to exist, as in you are not interested in being connected to another person, or sexually attracted, because there's so much depth and intimacy in that fourth stage of the relationship. Betrayal does not exist because the intimacy is so deep, and once you have been trusted, with all of your shadows and all of your quirks and all of your problems, you like the deepest sense of trust has been created. And there's the betrayal or cheating, lying is not even an option anymore, because you have nothing to hide. And it becomes profound and sacred, and monogamy becomes sacred as the union and the connection of those two beings. And basically you find the freedom through intimacy, you find this freedom in the monogamy, and those like urges or varieties are not they stop being appealing to you. It's really it's almost kind of, it's the highest version of the relationship, the highest expression of it. And more than that, a couple shares a vision of the future. They start expressing themselves as a couple in the world. Sometimes you can hear such as expression as a power couple, when you see a couple connected on all of the levels, on so many levels, and working as one unit. However, of course, when to understand what actually holds them, is it weak or dependent, or what actually is going on in a couple, you need to dig in deeper. However, that would be the highest expression of the power couple in this fourth stage. So how do I arrive to that stage? Basically understanding all of the 4 stages, and understanding that you can transcend them all, and moving through your fears, or your like through those demands, with surrender, with trust, with sharing yourself, and also healing your past wounds, allowing your wounds to surface and to display them to your partner. So there's nothing that you are going to be holding back from your partner in this stage. It does require a lot of communication, and a lot of effective communication as well, because you will still have those different personalities. However, to create this kind of level of trust and surrender and depth, you need quite a bit of communication. It does require a high level of consciousness and integration of all stages, and also a deep understanding of self and deep understanding of your partner. So that's all I wanted to share with you. I teach relationships, I teach that in my new program, where we shared all the wounds, the childhood wounds, and that allows to the true self, that fearless, brave self to resurface. I also do heart wall clearings will allow you to open up your heart and open up to your new love, or to a new way of being, new way of loving. And just to add on to how to create this relationship, you all obviously need an agreement from two people to create this kind of level of relationship. It's very difficult if one person is stuck on me centered and doesn't want to move forward from there, and you want to arrive to being centered, which is more deep spiritual and much more conscious way of being. So it does require two partners to participate. Much love to you all. I hope that was interesting. As usual, feel free to ask me any questions. It's Anastasia Grace here. If you have questions about my program, please contact me directly. Much love.